Where you going, man?
Neve, don't you follow no angry black man into their house.
This episode has been so highly requested, and it is one I think about often just because it is so Looney Tunes bat crazy. We have guest host Charlemagne the God, who is an interesting character all on his own. What I will say is he's an all right host. People seem to be they loved him or they hated him. There's no in between here. But Charlemagne was here because Max was off filming his movie with Zac Efron. We Are Your Friends. We Are Now Friends. Whatever the hell the movie was. I haven't seen it. Some people wanted me to watch it and then talk about it. But I personally just want to know who thought it was a good idea to bring Charlemagne on the show. That is a very genuine question. Like I said before, people have very mixed feelings, but I will let you be the judge of that.
We listen and we don't judge. At least not out loud.
So Charlemagne is actually apparently, or at the time, he was a very avid Catfish fan. He was always tweeting about the episodes. Maybe that's why they decided to bring him on. But in my mind, he just wouldn't stop contacting them and asking them to bring him on as a host. So eventually they just did when the opportunity presented itself. I know some of you are going to ask about the shirt. It's thrifted. I can't tell you where it's from, unfortunately. But he and Neve start the episode being creeps, in my opinion.
Dog, who cares? Have sex with him. You came this far, You got in a plane.
Release the tension.
Absolutely.
And after too much of that, we begin to read the email from Miracle. She is a 26-year-old woman from Milwaukee, and she says that she met the man of her dreams named Javonni. He slid into her Instagram DMs, and the rest is history. Anytime a man has slid into my Instagram DMs, nothing good has come from it. Nothing. She is very physically attracted to him, but she also says that he is very sweet and treats her the way that she's always wanted to be treated. However, we then get right into the red flags because not only is he a music producer who has never shown her any of his music that he has actually produced, but he also apparently allegedly moved from Milwaukee to Atlanta. Womp womp womp. Atlanta is like the catfish hotspot. It's probably tied with New York.
Bing bong.
Miracle says that Javonni restored her heart and all of her sorrow. She basically had a lot of animosity towards men. She kind of sort of hated men, which same girl, due to previous trauma. But Javonni restored all of that. However, they're drifting because Javonni has refused to video chat and he constantly dodges meeting up with her even though they lived in the same city for most of the time that they've been talking. She says she wants to marry him if he is who he says he is. Charlemagne immediately gets back to his creepy behavior after they finish reading the email.
If you got a chick that you can potentially smash close to you and you don't go smash it, something's wrong.
Ciao. We are about 5 minutes in, give or take, and I'm already sick of his ass. They hop on a video call with Miracle, and she is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She is so excited to see Charlemagne for reasons I don't particularly know. I don't know if I would be this excited to see him on my Catfish episode, but we find out that they actually met a couple of weeks ago at the club because he was doing some sort of like guest host appearance thing, and she was wearing a t-shirt with his face on it. But we then find out that Miracle has a daughter, and Javonni would often ask how her daughter is doing. Just based off of the way that she's talking, I don't think Javonni has had any contact with her daughter and has not built any sort of quote-unquote relationship with her daughter, which I think is for the best. I really hate when people who are being catfished or in these sort of online relationships involve their children, especially their very young children, and get them emotionally invested into this relationship that they don't even know is real. I don't understand that. I don't like that. Miracle's not doing that, so we're cool with her right now. They have spoken on the phone and she says that the voice matches the picture, but she then says that it's not anything crazy. It's not like he's a woman or something.
Nothing too crazy, like he's a woman or anything.
What an odd thing to say. As Neve is saying how weird it is that they lived in the same city and Javonni never took her out on a date or anything like that, Charlemagne interrupts. He says, forget about that date. You're fine. Why wouldn't he want to smash?
Get dinner, he not trying to smash. You a cute girl, Miracle.
Creep squad? Creep squad?
Now, Mr. Charlemagne, is that all you care about? Getting your willy wet? There's more to life than getting your willy wet. If only men would realize this.
You need a counselor, a psychologist. You need to read a book.
They of course agree to help, they hop off of the call, and we get the classic airport montage. Before they walk into Miracle's house, Neve gives Charlemagne a little bit of a pep talk about how they need to be respectable and not be creepy so that Miracle feels comfortable enough to talk to them about these very emotional, very serious topics, to which Charlemagne responds with,
Do something that men never do, actually listen to the female. That's right. Okay, I got you.
All right, let's do this.
"Boo." Miracle is, of course, very excited to see them, more so Charlemagne. Again, I don't know why. And then we see Rakai, which is her daughter, and we see that it seems like she's very well taken care of. She has a whole photo wall in the living room. She has more shoes than I have, which is saying a lot because I have quite a lot of shoes. We also see that she has a very vast black Barbie collection, and Miracle's reason for doing this is very important to me.
Where the hell you find all these black Barbies?
I want her to feel like if Barbie can be president, astronaut, doctor, then she can too.
I love to see people who genuinely love being parents and they cherish their children in the way that children should be cherished. They make them feel very desired, very wanted, never once questioning their worth. I love to see parents who do that because there's so many parents who don't do that.
Electric chair.
We then sit down and get into everything. Miracle tells us that her name is Miracle because her mom was on at the time of the pregnancy and actually the birth, and she had no idea that she was pregnant until she gave birth to Miracle. Neve then thinks it's a good idea to ask what types of drugs her mom was on.
Bombastic side eye.
Get some help.
Sir, not the child, this bee is back and try to get in my house. One thing I noticed is I think it's because the lawn is getting mowed, so they're just trying to get away from all that chaos. But I don't know why you think getting away is a good idea to get in my house, okay? What message is this bee trying to deliver? Y'all let me know. But why Neve thought it was appropriate or even suitable question to ask this at all, but especially in this moment at this time, I really don't know. I believe sometimes curiosity just gets the best of him. Some questions just do not really need answers like that, in my humble opinion. She then tells us that her mom would exchange sex for drugs, and that is how, child, this bee, and that is how her and her sisters came to be. She has no idea who her father is because he was one of the men who exchanged sex for drugs. And she also tells us that her mother is still currently on, but will not admit it. She often lies about her usage. After hearing this part of Miracle's story, to me it now makes sense why she wants her daughter to feel like there are no limitations, essentially. She wants to make sure that her daughter has the childhood that she was robbed of. It also breaks my heart to kind of hear this from Miracle because as a fellow child of an addict, one of the things you crave so deeply is love and affection. And oftentimes because you crave that so deeply, you will go seeking that in places you wouldn't if you had like a stable childhood. So the fact that Miracle has fallen for a catfish in my mind is just a reflection of that. And I hope that whether it be with this catfish or someone else, that she is able to receive the love she so clearly puts out to the rest of the world. Charlemagne then says,
"Oh Lord."
He says that she has every right to be a loser.
You have every reason to be a loser.
What did he say?
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? I understand what he was attempting to say. He was trying to say that her life circumstances made it very easy for her to just give up, and it would have been justifiable for her to give up. And it's admirable that she hasn't done that. She's in fact done the exact opposite, and she's determined to be the best person, the best mom that she can be. However, the way he worded it was insane. Miracle then says that Javonni was saying sweet nothings that she fell for because she hadn't heard them in a while. But eventually he told her that he was heading down to Atlanta for a big meeting, and this meeting ended up with him being signed to T.I.'s music label Grand Hustle, which resulted in his move.
He said, T.I. signed me to Grand Hustle. He said, I'm gonna have to move to Atlanta.
Girl, come the f*** on. Come the f*** on. That doesn't even make sense. This is so clearly a catfish lie. Javonni also said that his sister has lupus, so that is why he travels a lot from Atlanta to Milwaukee to take care of her. But it's like if you're in Milwaukee so often, you still can't meet up.
Make it make sense.
Quickly.
She then says that one day she got a random text from a random number telling her to stop texting her man, leave him alone, and saying that Miracle is essentially a groupie who just wants him for his money and his clout.
Oh, who is you?
Javonni then says, oh, that was my crazy ex, and then they just dismiss the situation, move on from it.
He said, oh my God, that's my ex, she's crazy.
Okay. Child, I'm gonna just say this. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it might be in your best interest to listen to the crazy ex. Because something was done to make that woman crazy most of the time, and they're just trying to warn you. However, in this situation, I think it all just, smell that? Smells like bullshit. So I don't believe that was a crazy ex. I believe Javonni sent that to her. For what reason, I don't know. It just feels like he's playing a lot of mind games unnecessarily. Miracle says that there are sick people out here, but she doesn't think that someone would lie about all of this. And Charlamagne steps in and says, well, girl, you must not watch Catfish.
I know some sick people out here, but I don't think that a person would lie about their sister having lupus, stuff
You don't
like
watch
that.
Catfish.
I don't necessarily like that man, but he makes a point. He makes a decent point here. We then see some of their messages, and of course we get into the flirtatious ones in which Charlamagne roleplays like he's Javonni and Miracle acts like herself in this very weird encounter. Miracle then says that Javonni makes her feel wanted and she deserves love like everybody else deserves love. And that's true, she absolutely does, but I fear this may be one of the worst ways to go about it. But I can also understand why it would be safe feeling for her because it's still like distant. It's love at arm's length, so there's some sort of safety there. Miracle says she doesn't care about the music, she doesn't care about the money, she just wants to know the truth. As the Catfish crew leaves, Charlamagne says this in his car debrief.
He probably never felt like somebody really cared. Like, I want to hug my daughter and like, oh, you are loved.
But Charlamagne also in the same breath says that this guy is not going to be anything like who she thinks it is.
I know something you don't.
We then head to a cafe to get to investigating, where Neve gets called the cheapest man in America because Charlamagne believes that Neve sought out a cafe with free Wi-Fi because he only drives minivans and he stays in 3-star hotels.
You are the cheapest man in America. You stay in 3-star hotels, you drive minivans, and move people with free wireless?
I don't know if that man's cheap or if he's just being smart with his money. Charlamagne is very serious about this investigation because he's got a notepad with a pen. He's got pen and paper ready, okay? They start by searching Javonni's phone number, which produces no results except for the fact that he's male. Charlamagne seems shocked and confused that they're actually investigating. He thought they were just gonna act like they were investigating and then find him because production had already done all the work. Neve then does 2 jobs by reverse image searching some pictures while filming himself, and that also yields no results. Getting nowhere, they hop on a call with Max and he tells them to use People Smart, and then he says he's gonna go get a corn dog and hops off the call. We finally get a hit, and to say that Charlamagne was excited would definitely be an understatement.
Ricky Witherspoon, it's him. He's 27, born April 1987. You did it, Neve.
There's even an address attached to the search, which is a good sign. We then search Ricky Witherspoon, who is the name who was attached to the People Smart Church.
Hey, yo!
To the People's Smart Search.
Bombastic side eye.
We then search Ricky Witherspoon and we find a Twitter account. He has his music linked to his page, so they decide to listen to it, and they say nothing about it, which is definitely not a good sign. But Neve then suggests that they play that video for Miracle and let her determine if it's the same voice that she's heard on the phone calls, because if it is, then Ricky is their catfish. Neve then says that Ricky is a less attractive, less successful version of who he portrayed himself to be to Miracle as Javonni, but if he is nice and sweet, she might still want him.
If he is really the sweet guy that he presents himself as with Miracle, like, maybe there's a chance.
What the hell? You said he's ugly and broke, but she'll definitely still want him.
Okay.
Okay. The next morning, Neve and Charlamagne are in the hotel. Neve tells Charlamagne to post and say that he is looking for this producer, Javonni, the man in the catfish pictures, because he heard that he makes good music, basically. Charlamagne says that he's like the sexy decoy.
What an odd thing to say.
I mean, I personally wouldn't go that far, but he is most definitely being used as a decoy. I don't know about that sexy part. Me personally, just my opinion.
So I'm like the sexy decoy. Bam!
But only a couple of minutes later, we get a hit, and once again, Mr. Leonard is really excited. And yes, Charlamagne's government name is Leonard. So we find the guy in the catfish pictures Instagram, and he has about 7,000 followers. They send him a message asking him to reach out so that they can chat.
You ugly! Got him!
Hold on.
Got him.
Miracle is almost most definitely not talking to the guy in the pictures, and it's looking like she's talking to Ricky. So they go on their merry way to a cafe to tell her just that. Before they tell her what's going on, Charlamagne actually says something quite profound, something I personally was not expecting to hear from him.
It's very important to remember right now that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide whether or not to be reduced by them.
But as they dive into the details of what they found, Miracle says that she does not know Ricky, but she recognizes that street address because it's quite literally right up the road from her, not far at all from where she lives. She says on a good day, it's walking distance. Finding this out would absolutely freak me the out, because now I'm worried, like, am I being stalked? Am I being watched? Am I being monitored? Did this person kind of hunt me down? When shown the videos of Ricky, Miracle says that she does not recognize his face or his voice, And we then see the profile of the real person in the pictures, including him macking on another woman, so it looks like he's in a relationship. Miracle is clearly hurt by this, and Charlemagne is comforting and aspirational once again, which again, confusing to me. Wasn't expecting it.
I believe that you're so real that it's easy for you to believe in other people.
Neve then checks his messages, and we see that the real guy in the pictures reached back out, so they hop on a video call with him. He says his name is Jonathan, and he has in fact seen Catfish. Because at this point, who hasn't? But they turn the camera over to Miracle to let him talk, and then this interaction happens.
Hi.
babe.
Hey.
How are you?
It sounds like the text messages.
Miracle doesn't have very much to say. She just gets very emotional, and Jonathan apologizes for her experience, even though he had nothing to do with it. When Miracle is quite literally sobbing, Neve asks her if she's okay.
You're being stupid on purpose.
What a stupid question. Of course she's not okay. She's clearly not okay. Miracle then walks out of the cafe crying, and Neve follows her. She says that she is heartbroken because their text messages and their relationship meant a lot to her, but she's still determined to figure out who it is that she's been talking to. While they're outside, we see that Neve and Miracle are actually matching. This has nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to mention it because we love a good matching little coordinated moment. Everyone then goes their separate ways, and back in the hotel, we give Javonni a call. We also see Neve and Charlemagne standing beside each other, and Neve is towering over Charlemagne, which was a very funny sight for me to see personally. But they call Javonni, he answers right away, and he says that he is familiar with the show. Neve says that Miracle wants to meet, but Javonni says that he is busy right now, but he'll send them an address because he wants all of this to be over. He is ready for this to be over.
I'm really ready for this to be over.
Which is like, you could have ended it before it got here. It's only ongoing because of you. Personally, that's what I think. Neve is not ready for the phone call to end, so he asks if he goes by the name Ricky, and the Catfish just says, meet me at the address, I gotta go, hangs up.
Damn.
He said, I don't got time for all this yapping. Just pull up.
Just, meet me at the address. I'm busy right now, man. I gotta go.
The Catfish not having any time to talk and being so ready to just meet and get right into everything is interesting considering he was ducking and dodging Miracle for so long. They waste no time heading over to Miracle's place to then go to meet the Catfish, whoever it is, Richie, Javonni, whoever. Richie, his name is Ricky, girl. But the Catfish sent them an address, and it's the same address that was listed online for Ricky. After they pick her up, they head right on over. Miracle, the Catfish crew, and Leonard hang back as Neve goes and does, I would say, his signature police knock, but I think it's a pretty tame knock considering he doesn't know what he's walking into. But someone comes to the door right away, and it elicits this response from Miracle.
Oh, hell no.
We then see that Ricky is in fact there, and I immediately peep a wedding ring, which is very interesting. Ricky says that it's a whole lot, there's a whole lot to the situation, but the best thing they can do is follow him inside? What the f?
Get somebody else to do it.
It's a no from me, dog.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
Neve is like, actually, let's go over there and let's talk to Miracle, which is something Ricky actually agrees to do, but then as he takes 2 steps, he changes his mind and he heads back inside. What the f is going on? What is going on? Neve follows him into his house, and then we get this iconic moment from Charlemagne, the moment that I have mentioned in so many other videos.
Neve, don't you follow no angry black man into their house.
Everyone then walks into the house, and Leonard says that MTV is not paying him enough for this.
Oh, MTV ain't paying me enough for all of this, bro.
And I personally would agree. I don't know how I feel about walking into a stranger's house. The fact that the whole crew went with them would make me feel a little bit safer. Maybe not. We'll just have to find out. Catfish, call me. But they get inside and they start to asking Ricky questions, and Ricky says that he doesn't know her from anywhere, and when more questions are asked, he walks away.
Don't play.
Like down the hallway, and Neve decides to follow him, which is crazy.
It's hard.
But he does his best to encourage honesty and transparency out of Ricky. At this point, who knows what we're gonna get. In the living room, Miracle and Leonard peep all of the medication, and we'll figure out why in just a second. After a very tense couple of minutes of everybody just in the living room standing there awkwardly, Ricky walks back out with a random woman who introduces herself as Cara and drops a bomb on us.
I'm Cara. I'm Javonni.
She is Javonni, and she clarifies that she and this man didn't do it together, but her husband, that's who this man is, that's her husband, would speak to Miracle on the phone.
I did it on my own. When Miracle wanted to speak with a guy, my husband.
Bomba clot!
Be nice.
I'm finding it.
Okay, so you just said you're Javonni, but your husband would speak to Miracle on the phone pretending to be Javonni, which also means that your husband was in on it. You said you weren't doing it together, but you were doing it together. You were catfishing this woman together. For why? We don't know yet.
Are you delusional?
Are you delusional?
Cara says, and this is like the same BS story that we've heard so many times on this show, but she says that she made this page because her friend's man was cheating, and she used the page to catfish the girl that her friend's man was cheating with. Okay, follow me. Follow me. She says that she was trying to take the time and attention of the cheating, the woman on the side here, so that she would leave her friend's man alone. You dummy.
And when you look up dumb bitch in the dictionary, her picture is right there.
In 2025, can we please, pretty please, stop trying to trick, force, and scare people into loyalty and monogamy? Let's stop doing that. Just leave their ass. If you feel the need to do all this, get your friend to catfish them. Also, I don't even know if I believe the story, but if this is the truth, if you feel the need to do all that, you can find a man who will just be loyal to you. Shocking. I know. You could do that though. But also, Cara, I think her name's Cara. Are you going to catfish every single woman that this man decides to cheat with? Be for real. Cara says that when she first made the page, she was sending follow requests to everyone to make the page seem real. She then tells us that she doesn't work because she has lupus, which is a chronic autoimmune disease which causes the immune system to attack healthy tissue and organs. She says that she was basically talking to Miracle to pass the time, not thinking that anything was going to last.
When she started texting, it was like, oh,
was
not
just to
thinking
be-
that it would have went this far.
While I can empathize with her being in pain and being bedridden, often because of how sick she gets, catfishing a single mother to pass the time is crazy work. Like, absolutely crazy work. While you are in physical pain, you're out here causing this woman emotional pain. For no reason. Also, let us not forget that you pretended to be your own crazy ex-girlfriend for some reason. Leonard, Charlemagne, then hops in and is like, hey, how come you didn't check your wife? Which honestly, valid question. Ricky then says that most of the time he is out working, he's gone, so he hadn't realized how far things had gotten, and then he rambles a bunch of nonsensical bullshit.
Girl, you need to stop with that. I didn't realize that it went over what she originally planned for it to be.
Okay, not buying it at all. I think he just didn't want to upset his wife. Because if she's getting you to speak to a random woman on the phone and talk to this random woman as if y'all are in a relationship, then you had to have realized how far it had gotten. But also, like,
Be nice.
you're helping your wife cheat on you with a random woman on the internet, and you're helping to catfish said woman.
You done lost your damn mind.
This is sick and twisted. Y'all are sick and twisted. Cara then says that after she got to know Miracle, she thought that she was sweet and the feelings were genuine. Neve says even the romantic feelings? Cara pauses, she gives it a long thought, and she says that some of it was pretend and some of it was real.
You expressed romantic feelings.
Some of it was pretend, some of it was real.
But she doesn't want to be in a relationship with her. I think admitting in front of your husband that some of the romantic feelings you had for this woman was real, crazy work. But the husband then steps in, Ricky, and he says that he thought it was a relationship that couldn't be put to rest. Hold on, okay? 2 seconds ago, you said you didn't know it had gotten this far, but now you're saying you knew that it had been going on for months and was a full-blown relationship.
It was a relationship. It was
No,
a relationship
it wasn't.
that, you know, couldn't be put to rest.
So which is it? What's the truth? I don't think there's any point in lying to make yourself look good because there's no way that any sort of lie would make you look good in this situation. That's what I think. Miracle then gets upset with both of them, and this mini crash out she has is very valid. She says that they're now all on TV looking crazy. Cara then says that it's not all on me, it's on us. We did this together. She wasn't messaging herself.
It's not that,
Right.
it's us.
And-
We did it together. We was in this together. I wasn't texting myself.
Get the out of my face. What are you talking about? Don't piss me off. The us and together is you and your funky husband, not you and Miracle. And I don't know why Neve was over there agreeing with this stupid ass answer talking about, yeah. Huh? Charlemagne then jumps in and says what we are all thinking. You're just trying to victim blame right now.
Trying to
You were
victim blame
texting
right
and
now.
responding.
You're trying to blame the victim.
He didn't lie there. He kind of ate that. He ate that right there. Cara doesn't defend or deny that. She just comes up with another way to blame Miracle by saying she tried multiple times to end things and Miracle just would not let her. Like when she messages a crazy ex-girlfriend, but it's like you message the crazy ex-girlfriend and then as Javonni, you're like, oh, don't worry about her. Don't worry about her. So is that you trying to end it or is that you trying to create random plot lines?
Side eye.
Miracle then gets heated and she asks, is it lupus or is she psycho?
Is it lupus or is she psycho? Which one?
Damn, 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 damn.
Man, what did he do to make this that mad?
Calling Cara crazy and a sick individual seems to flip her crazy switch on. She gets very defensive about her illness, which I think is valid, but also a little bit interesting.
You're a sick individual.
I am a sick individual. I am a sick individual.
I know you are.
Like, yes, what Miracle said, insanely out of pocket, but also what Cara did, insanely out of pocket. I don't think Miracle meant it in a way that was like, yeah, your lupus is making you crazy, or like trying to talk smack about her having this illness. I think she's just mad because of what she fell victim to. Doesn't justify it though. The guys then try to get the women to calm down and Miracle makes it clear that it is time to leave. Being that they live so close together, Miracle says, if you see me, don't speak to me. And Cara says, trust me, it ain't no reason to, sweetie, you're basic.
You see me, don't speak to me.
Trust me, it ain't no reason to. Sweetie, you basic.
Hey, yo.
Girl.
What did he say?
Why would you say that? But also she's so basic, yet you had feelings for her, you fell in love with her kind of sorta, and you were catfishing her and using your husband's help to do it. But you want to talk smack about her? Okay, girl. Miracle then says, you're calling me basic, but have you seen your outfit though?
Do you see your outfit though? There's the basic. Is that a fishnet?
Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Neve is then giggling about the whole situation as he tries to usher Miracle out of the apartment, out of this crazy couple's apartment. The Catfish crew then heads out and Miracle is going off as they're walking down the stairs. Charlemagne then tells Ricky to not let his wife do this ever again. And Ricky, he talks in this very roundabout way which evades the point every single time. And it's so annoying to me. It's so annoying to me. But he says, bottom line, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Charlemagne is not trying to hear all that, so he leaves as Ricky is still clearly in the middle of whatever explanation he was about to get into. In the car, Charlemagne is egging Miracle on for real, okay? He says that Cara didn't need to call her basic, and then Miracle and Charlemagne drag Cara a wee little teensy bit, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm basic. Her haircut's $6.99.
I'm telling you, a pack.
It was on sale. Buy one, get one free.
But you basic though.
I'm basic.
They had a cute little kiki about it. The next day, Neve and Charlemagne meet up, and Neve tries to say that he wants everybody to all meet back up again so everyone can have a better understanding of each other and no one is left with bad blood or negativity. Now, I know that's what he said, but I do think a part of him does want to just meet all back up again because he's a little bit of a messy okay? And me too, girl. But Neve decides to go to Cara and speak to her alone. Cara says that she was calm until Miracle said it's the lupus that's messing with your mind and making you act psycho.
And I got upset is she said it must be the lupus that's messing with your mind, that's making you act psycho.
Okay. That's not what she said, like, at all. And I wish someone maybe would have told her that or, like, replayed the scene for her, because that's not what was said. But I can understand why Miracle mentioning Cara's lupus at all would be upsetting to her.
And I personally don't think that it should have been brought up at all in a negative way by anybody involved.
Cara then discusses some of her day-to-day struggles due to her lupus.
Sometimes I feel like I'm suffocating.
She says that she can't have any sun exposure and she can't go outside unless the sun is down, which affects her life, but also her children's lives because she can't go outside and play with them like she wants to and like they want her to. I personally have never heard of this kind of side effect from lupus before. I love being in the sun personally, so I can't imagine that being ripped away from me and limiting what I can and can't do with my children. While I deeply empathize with everything that Cara is going through, it doesn't justify or explain away what she and her husband did to Miracle. Cara then admits that she had a bond, an attachment, and an attraction to Miracle.
I was kind of curious as far as women.
She says that she has always questioned her sexuality, specifically her attraction to women. She's noticed it from a young age, but it was always somewhat forbidden because both of her parents are pastors, they're very religious, very Christian, and she was told that she would go straight to hell
If you do that, you're going straight to hell. Hell is not a place that I want to go.
She was also telling Miracle things that she wished somebody would say to her. Girl, you are married. You are married. You have a husband who should be saying all of those things to you. And if he's not, then he should be open to hearing the things that he should be saying to you. But he should just be willing to tell you those things multiple times a day unprompted. And if not unprompted, then having a conversation about it to fix that. But going online and catfishing a woman, not the way to solve that problem per se. However, I do understand kind of the religious trauma and the fact that being scared that you're going to hell, which is described as like the worst place ever, you want to do everything you can to avoid being there. I can understand why she would kind of suppress this sexuality, this desire. We won't get into my personal religious beliefs, but what I will say is it's an awful, awful thing to suppress parts of who you are, parts of you that you cannot control because of fear.
Talk, Valentina. I lie.
Cara says that this is her life. She has to accept it and she has to live it. And she says it in this very defeated sort of way, like she's not fully satisfied.
This is my life, so I have to accept it and I have to live it.
Neve encourages her to speak with Miracle again so they can better understand each other and maybe even forge some sort of friendship. I personally would not want to be friends with anybody who catfished me, but that's just me personally. Miracle says that a big piece of her is now gone because Javonni is gone, and she is really going to give Cara a chance this time to kind of speak her truth, say what the heck is going on. It's just Cara and Miracle alone. Leonard does not get another chance to be in there, which is probably for the best because he's a little bit of an instigator in my opinion. But Cara then apologizes for leading Miracle on, but she doesn't actually say sorry, which y'all know is a pet peeve of mine personally.
I apologize for leading you on.
She then says that she didn't have malicious intent with any of this, but there was something about her. There was something about Miracle to where she would be laying in the bed with her husband and she would turn over, realize she didn't get a good morning text from Miracle, and she would be upset.
Hey, yo!
Laying in the bed on side of my husband. I'm like, I didn't get a good morning text this morning.
Girl, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, a lot to unpack here. First of all, whether it was done with malicious intent or not is somewhat irrelevant to me. But also, being in bed with your husband and being upset that your catfish victim hasn't texted you is crazy work. But I think this is a very clear sign that deep down she knows. She's afraid to explore that because she doesn't want to go to hell. And obviously she's married with kids and all of those things. But if you're upset that the woman you're in a relationship with online hasn't texted you while you're laying next to your husband, that's a very clear sign. I think that you are, one, not emotionally fulfilled, but also there's a part of you that you feel the need to explore. She says that the Javonni page was in fact her, just with a different face, and that is again something that all the catfishes be saying. Miracle then says that she's not going to put all of the blame on Cara. She's going to take some of the responsibility herself, which is not necessary. I don't think that she should have done that. But she then says that knowing the severity of Cara's illness, she will still check on her and eventually they can build a friendship. They then share this very warm hug and they say their goodbyes.
I apologize.
That's okay.
I personally am very shocked about the way this whole situation ended, and I cannot believe that they're cool and on good terms. But in our 2-month follow-up, Miracle says that she is good and being on Catfish has deterred her from dating online, so she is now just going to date in person. She says that she tried to speak to Cara, but Cara never responded. Charlemagne then says that Cara could be dead, which why would you say that? But that they all hope that Miracle gets laid soon. Creep Squad?
Creep Squad?
Cara says that she is no longer catfishing and that her marriage has improved a lot because of that. She says that everything is great and her health is improving too, which very glad to hear that her health is improving. She says that she has not been avoiding Miracle. She didn't see the message, but she will get back to her. I feel like that might be a sore spot in the marriage. But what do I know? I've never been married. This was a crazy episode, but to me, it seems like, and this is just my opinion, okay? It seems like Cara wants to explore her sexuality and act on her romantic feelings for women, but religious fear and trauma keeps her from doing that. She also does not want to leave the stability that her husband provides because he financially supports her through her illness and the children and everything. Like, she just doesn't want to mess that up. It also seems like she doesn't want to disappoint or upset her parents, so she is willing to stay stuck in a marriage that is emotionally unfulfilling. I think her husband can sense the fact that she is not fulfilled, that she's not necessarily happy anymore, and he will do anything to keep her happy, hence him getting in on the catfish action and letting her have this relationship outside of their marriage. Obviously, none of that explains, justifies, or makes okay her catfishing behavior and everything that she did and the way that she treated Miracle, but that's just my personal take on this whole situation, what's going on. Child, if y'all made it all the way to the end of the video, put a little bee emoji in the comments for this bee that just keeps coming back. Can't guarantee it's the same one, but every time when I'm filming, they just want to get in. I don't know what it is. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you are aware of every single time that I upload. If there's another episode you'd like to see me cover, you can drop it down in the comments below, or you can leave me a DM here on Instagram. I get back to y'all. I like talking to y'all. It makes me giggle, hee, laugh when y'all are surprised that I actually respond. Yes, I do. I don't tell you guys to go over there for no reason, okay? I think the episode was messy, still very confused by the random infusion of Charlemagne, but I thank you to everyone who requested this video. I thank you so much for being here, y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.